Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you're all doing well as usual. So back today as promised with another edition of Black Metal Vinyl. So a couple of videos ago I said this was going to be the next one, then I did a contest entry. So now as promised I'm back on track. And since there's a few competitions and threads coming up, what I'm going to do is alternate with each video. So one video I'll do a contest entry and then the next one something from my collection or a collection update. So yeah, in today's edition of Black Metal Vinyl we have 4 vinyls to talk about, 3 different bands. So without further ado we'll just get started. So you'll remember in the last edition of Black Metal Vinyl we were up to the letter I and I covered Immortal and Impaled Nazarene. So we've just got one more left in the eyes today which I'm going to look at. And that is, of course, ISENGARD with Hurst Merk. I hope that's the pronunciation. See, this is the Norwegian lettering with the O with the slash through it, and it's my understanding that the pronunciation of that particular character, it's like the umlaut above the O in German, so So Hurst Merk, but Norwegian viewers and Roger, I'm sorry if I got this wrong, but yes, so ISENGARD, if you can't tell, that's Fenris on the front, because this is none other than a solo project by Fenris of Darkthrone and various other projects, and essentially it's a mixture. It's been called black doom metal. To be honest, I don't really see the doom metal aspect of it. I mean, I suppose in some moments it's kind of slow, but for me it's more a mixture of black metal, Viking metal and folk metal. So nowhere near as purist as Darkthrone. You know, Darkthrone is purely cold black metal, whereas this incorporates some folk and Viking metal, some clean vocals and, you know, traditional Norwegian folk music from the sound of it. So it's really interesting. I absolutely love this album. I got it, this version on vinyl, it was like over 10 years ago now from Peaceville, but absolutely fantastic release. And the way I found out about this band was on the Moonfog compilation, Crusade from the North. I heard the opening track, Nestle Pax, which to be honest, it took a while to grow on me, but once it clicked, I absolutely loved it. And to be honest, I think even the rest of this album is better. So I'll give you just some information on the background. This will give you some insight into the style and the production, so I don't have to ramble on about that. But it says, engineered and produced by Fenris in Necro Hell Studios to get that fine demo sound. No clinical life sound here. So in other words, it's very rough and raw sounding, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's just very scratchy and distorted, but it adds to that primitive kind of flavor of the music. And what else does it say here? Front cover photo taken by Satir during Fenris and Satir's glorious mountain trip in September 1994. Desolate Norwegian landscape rules, indeed. And it says here, the black metal songs on Hurst Merk are dedicated to Frost of Satyricon. The Norse-inspired songs are dedicated to Satyr of Satyricon. So that basically sums up, it's 2 styles. It's basically some songs which lean towards more towards black metal, other more towards folk and Viking metal, but sometimes it blends all of them. And I think it's absolutely brilliant. Like, out of all the albums and records I own, and I own a lot by Norwegian bands, I think this is the most quintessentially Nordic and Norwegian sounding album I've ever heard in my life. So if you like that kind of Norwegian folky black metal sound, like for example if you like Bergtatt by Ulva, or, you know, early Enslaved, you'll probably really like this a lot. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, absolutely great album. There's no songs I dislike. Perhaps the only song I don't get into as much on this is track 3, which is I Kamp med Kvitkrist. Again, not a bad song. It's just like it's sort of a grand triumphant song, but that's by default it's my least favorite song. But still decent. But I love all the other tracks on here. So like the opening one, Nestle Pax, that features some dirgy Nordic Viking vocals from Fenris, and then the occasional raspy vocals when he does the Nestle Pax section. But when the song really gets going into that galloping with the clean, dirgy Viking vocals, it's absolutely glorious and atmospheric. I absolutely love it. So yeah, Nestle Pax is great, with the climax being my favorite part of the song. Then track 2, Landet og Havet. By the way, again, I apologize for my Norwegian, but I'm just having a go. That is, so I've got some notes here. Yep, so track 2, Landet og Havet, that is like a purely a vocal track, like a Viking ode, where it's again those dirgy, clean Viking vocals in the vein of early Enslaved and early Ulva in terms of the clean vocals. So I really like that for some Nordic atmosphere. Yeah, like I said, track 3, I Kamp med Kvitkrist, it's a triumphant sounding track, but it's not one I get into as much, but still a decent track. And then we're coming up to some of my favorites now. Track 4, which is entitled, please forgive my pronunciation, I gran borti nodre asen, or asen, whatever the hell that means. But I really love this track. This one, it consists purely of synths, but it almost resembles the sound, like it paints a scenario, or I picture an atmosphere of a Viking ship sailing in the fjords. That's how quintessentially Nordic and grim and dirgy it sounds. It's absolutely brilliant. And in addition to that, there's some very sort of dirgy Nordic Viking vocals again. There are some guitars in the background, but no drums. It's just purely dominated by this haunting Nordic synth. It's absolutely brilliant. So that's track 4, I gran borti nordre asen. Then we go over to side B. We're coming up to my favorite track on the album now. That's track 5, entitled Over de Sungede Order Mør. Sorry again about my Norwegian. I absolutely love this track. It's a dirty sounding melancholic Viking hymn with very Nordic vocals again, but like when it just reaches into these soaring melodies, it's almost an eargasm to me. When, you know, Fenris really belts out these Nordic Viking vocals. It's absolutely fantastic. And that is the most quintessentially Norwegian song I've ever heard. Like when I was recently in Norway a couple of years ago, I was staying in a suburb on the outskirts of town called Asker, or Osker. Sorry, Norwegian is a hard language. I assumed it would be similar to German, wrong. But anyway, yeah, when I was staying there, it was a quiet town overlooking the fjord of the city, and there was you know, pine trees around and everything like that. And whenever I looked around, it just made me imagine this particular song. So very fitting to the Norwegian landscapes. So if you travel to Norway, make sure you take this with you as a soundtrack because it's so fitting. Then we get into track 6, Thornspawn Chalice. I wonder if this track inspired the name of the Texan US black metal band Thornspawn. I'm guessing probably, because I know they're fans of Dark Throne, as are most black metal bands. But yeah, Thornspawn Chalice. This starts with a mid-paced swaggery riff with very tortured, screamy black metal vocals. And yeah, by the way, Fenris does all of the vocals on this, like clean vocals and black metal vocals. They're both fantastic. Like the black metal ones are really caustic and screechy. It's amazing. And the Viking vocals are excellent too. Don't think they're like Fenris's heavy metal vocals on the later Dark Throne albums, which a lot of people didn't like. Nothing like that. These are pure Viking vocals, so absolutely awesome. So anyway, yeah, Thornspawn Chalice. Yeah, it's got those screamy black metal riffs, and then it also features some very fast, catchy, and bleak black metal riffs, like especially, even some of the lyrics, they just trigger the riff in my head, like that particular line, "Behold the rise of the flaming Trinity." The riff which accompanies that is absolutely fantastic. And then the album closes with track 7, entitled Total Death, so which was also a name of a Dark Throne album. But yeah, Total Death, this is one of my favorite tracks as well. Incidentally, the opening riff in this song, it's similar to the Dark Throne song To the Death from the Dark Throne album Ravishing Grimness. You know, Pine Hill Salvation, To the Death. But yeah, Total Death, that also features some very bleak black metal riffs, which are super fast, absolutely excellent. And I love that it's such a Dark Throne-esque, bleak, melancholic riff, you know, where which accompanies the line, "Crush the race of God." Oh, it just sends shivers down my spine in terms of how atmospheric that is, so I just love that. And the other comical aspect about this is that the song is called Total Death, but Fenris pronounce it as Total Death, like an S sound. And when I actually met an OJ, Apollyon from Au Renoir, they were telling me that, yeah, he was imitating a German accent there by saying Total Death, which is interesting because I know in German, like TH, they pronounce it T, like theater for theater, but maybe it was kind of like a spoof or an exaggeration saying a really strong German accent would say Total Death. But yeah, absolutely fantastic album. So if you like, as I've said, just bleak, melancholic black metal, especially in the vein of Dark Throne, it's not too dissimilar from Dark Throne at times, but also a lot more primitive, and you also like Viking and pagan and folky black metal, you will absolutely love this album. So absolutely fantastic. So there's a young picture of a young Fenris there. Cool logo with this as well. So all the credits on the back. So I got this one from Peaceville. Yep, so then it's got some lyrics, like it's got the lyrics for Thornspawn Chalice and also for Nestle Pucks. Incidentally, nothing else, which is interesting. So cool labels on this one. So first of all, you've got the band logo there with the winged creature, and then this kind of emblem, which reminds me of, you know, that serpent-headed snake in that movie, The Never-Ending Story. But yeah, very sort of fantasy-oriented, but absolutely brilliant album. And I've owned this for over 10 years, as I said, but I never get sick of listening to this album. So 6 of the 7 songs I absolutely love, but I would have to say my absolute total favorites would be I Gran Borti Nordre Arsen and Over die Syngende Oder Mør. Typically, the longest and most complicated to pronounce are my 2 absolute favorite songs, but Thornspawn Chalice and Total Death are great as well. So here we go. I've been rambling on too much. That's ISENGARD with Hörsmör. Okay, now the next album I'm going to talk about today is not a black metal album. So you'll notice that that's why I've said in the title of this video, I decided to call it black metal and related vinyl, because the next album I'm talking about is folk metal. Why am I including that in a black metal edition? It's like when I showed Ensiferum before, I included that in black metal and related vinyl, because while folk metal is not black metal, often black metal crosses over with folk metal and they have shared elements. So with folk metal vinyl, I only own 2 albums, like Ensiferum and this one I'm about to show, so I can't really have folk metal vinyl. It would be a very short chapter, you know. So yes, I'm aware, so I don't want some smarter saying, oh, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, this band is not black metal. I know that they're a folk metal band, but I'm saying this is black metal and related because it's the closest category. So anyway, what I'm talking about is KORPIKLAANI with Noita. So of course, if you're not familiar, KORPIKLAANI are a Finnish folk metal band, and they have a very interesting history, which I'm going to talk about shortly. So Noita, the title, that is Finnish for the word witch, I believe. And we will just go into this. I don't usually talk about the history of a band, but this will kind of explain its relation to black metal and some other interesting things. So KORPIKLAANI are a Finnish folk metal band, and I actually did some research on this. The name means backwards clan in the spoken language of Sami, which I think is the language of the northern Finnish and Norwegian and Swedish people, you know, the tribe, the Sami. Yeah, so KORPIKLAANI means backwards clan, but in spoken language, Korpi also means dark old forest, so very fitting for a folk metal band. And what's interesting about KORPIKLAANI is that they started out as a Sami folk music group called Shaman Duo, and then they changed their name to Shaman. And this project in the inception was known for its heavy use of native original Sami music elements and lyrics in the northern Sami language. And after a few lineup changes, the band then became KORPIKLAANI with more emphasis on metal instruments. And the main protagonist in this group, like the sole remaining member, his name is Jonna, I think the guy with the dreadlocks, and he attributed this change to KORPIKLAANI becoming more metal and less folk to the time he played in the Finnish folk black metal band Fintroll. So, you know, Fintroll, I've spoken about them before, black folk metal band, so you see how folk metal is related. But what's interesting about this band is that most black metal bands or metal bands then change to folk music. They start incorporating folk, but this band did it the other way around. They started playing purely folk music, but then they started incorporating metal elements into their music. So I think that's really interesting. I guess they thought, oh, you know, in Finland, metal music's very popular, and I played in Fintroll, so why not? But yeah, and the way Jonna also described KORPIKLAANI is that he said it would be, Finnish people would see this as old people's traditional Finnish music with heavy metal guitars. So like I said, I saw this band at Grasspop in 2015. I just had a feeling that the band would appeal to me, and when I saw them, I was absolutely blown away by this thick, fat, heavy wall of sound, you know, with the guitars, the synths, and all the other folky instruments they have, and the harmonized vocals and everything. So I would absolutely recommend, if you get to see this band live, do not pass up the opportunity. And on that same trip, when I was in Amsterdam later on, I saw this in Concerto Records. Mark, is that the name? I think so. Concerto Records in Amsterdam, and I snapped this up. Very happy to have this. So yeah, what you can expect from KORPIKLAANI, a lot of people label this band as cheesy and a joke because they think it's sort of like happy polka melodies, you know, and you know, a lot of violins and flutes and accordions, and to some people, I know that's not everyone's cup of tea, but yeah, like they said, it's traditional Finnish music, but then they've added heavy metal guitars. But it's very festive, good music for drinking, good music for dancing, and when I saw them live, there were people actually dancing, and I was sort of coerced to partake in that, but in spite of myself, I enjoyed it. You know, people twirling around and everything. But yeah, a lot of their songs are about drinking and about partying. So like, they have a song on the other album I have, Udon Waka, they have a song called Tequila. They have another song called Vodka. I think they have one called Beer as well. But yeah, this is an absolutely brilliant album. What I like about it is just so folky. But like I said, with the guitar sound and everything, it is so thick, fat, and heavy. And yeah, it just makes you want to dance. It makes you want to get up and jump. It makes you want to drink. So if that sounds appealing to you, definitely listen to this album. All of the lyrics on this album are in Finnish, and they're only listed in Finnish, so I don't really know what they're about exactly. But I like the whole album. There's a variety of tempos. They have some very upbeat songs where it's like, hey, 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 you know, shouting, like that's track 2. Pili on pajusta teeti. Yeah, that's a very sort of partying track. But I just really like all songs, but I'd have to say my absolute favorites are track 3. Track 3 is entitled Lempo. And I did write this down, what the titles mean, but I can't remember now. Those notes are somewhere else now, so I'm not going to go back. But Lempo, it's just got this really fat, chugging, heavy sound, and these atmospheric choral vocals. You know, when they sing it, it's like you just can't resist that song. Lempo is a really great track. The other track I really like is track 6, entitled Minä näin vedessä neidon. I can't remember what that means. Sorry. And again, Finnish viewers, I apologize for my pronunciation, but I remember it had some weird meaning, like I dance on the water, and then it also said it could mean I fuck on the water. I don't know, but they're a band who likes partying and drinking. But that song, Minä näin vedessä neidon, it's dominated by the vocal melody. So even when I read that title, it makes me just want to start singing the song, but I won't do that. I'll spare you of my terrible voice. But absolutely fantastic. And the other track I really like is the second last one on the album, entitled Aman Hauta. And again, I don't know what that means, but yeah, they're the 3 most memorable songs for me. But there are 10 songs in total, and it's just a great listen from beginning to end. Like I said, some people might find it a bit corny or a bit cheesy, but if you're in the right frame of mind and you like folk music, I think you'll definitely enjoy this. So have a look at the cover there. Absolutely atmospheric picture of these people carrying a body through the woods with torches. And yeah, as I said, noita is the Finnish word for witch. Then we have all of the song titles on the back in Finnish, and all of the guys. So that's Jonna, the main man from the project, who played in Fintroll. And yeah, they have so many members. They have 6 members because there's a lot of different instruments. So on that note, I will just show you the gatefold. I really like the color on this as well. All lyrics are in Finnish, so I never look at them. Here's a picture of the band, and just looking at this, I'll tell you all of the instruments. So Sami plays accordion, Matson drums, Gain or Ghana guitar, Yone vocals, acoustic guitars, hurdy-gurdy, and willow flute. So some interesting instruments here. Raunakain on fiddle and Yako on bass. So yeah, they're the interesting instruments on this album. You could say hurdy-gurdy, willow flute, and fiddle. Yep, so it's very folky, but absolutely fantastic stuff. Just show you the insert as well. Yep, so it's on plain black vinyl, and it's just got these, excuse me, these cool labels, that kind of tribal artwork. Yeah, but yeah, this KORPIKLAANI is not the kind of band I'm always in the mood to listen to, but as I said, they're a great live band, and just if you just want something upbeat and good for partying, you like drinking, or you're having a party with friends, this is a good one to whack on, provided they like metal, of course. Otherwise, people might think it's strange. I remember a few years ago, I was playing this in my place, and my girlfriend at the time said, "Oh, what's this? Is this band Japanese?" And I said, no, Finnish, because the language sounds strange. Mind you, I do like the sound of the Finnish language, even though it's bloody impossible to speak. I think the only way you can learn Finnish is if you're born in Finland. But yes, great album. That's KORPIKLAANI with Noita. All right, now, guys, I've rambled on about those first 2 albums, but I'd never spoken about them before, so that they were completely fresh material. The next 2 I have spoken about before, so I'm not going to go into as much detail, I promise. I actually covered both of these in a recent collection update, so I don't need to say much at all. I'll leave the link to that collection update video so you can see the detailed reviews. But yes, anyway, here is Lord Belial with Kiss the Goat. So I did show this one quite recently, but yeah, absolutely fantastic Swedish black metal band. They play, I would say it's melodic black metal, but not as super melodic as bands like Dissection, Sacramentum, Dawn, and Vinterland. It's just like standard black metal, but with some extra Swedish melody. You can definitely tell this band's Swedish. And they also incorporate some really interesting elements, like their keyboard sound is totally unique. And this band also uses a flute in some songs as well to give it that kind of medieval atmosphere. But the songs are very sort of like harsh, standard 90s black metal, but well produced, you know, like well produced, no fashion-esque Swedish black metal, you could say. And there's some very evil sounding riffs, a variety of tempos in this album. It's absolutely fantastic. But yeah, probably my favorite songs on this are Hymn of the Ancient Misanthropic Spirit of the Forest, which is the first song I heard by this band. Also, Satan Divine is good. Grace of God is my favorite track because of the way they use the keyboards. Absolutely spellbinding and enchanting. If there's one song from this album to check out, you must check out Grace of God, my personal recommendation. Into the Frozen Shadows is also good. And yeah, The Art of Dying, that's a kind of melancholic acoustic instrumental, which I really like, very hypnotic. And what's the other one I like? Yeah, Lilith, Demonic Queen of the Black Light. But there's honestly no bad songs on this album, so I've just mentioned some of my favorites here. But yeah, if you like second wave of black metal, especially with that Swedish sound, you will definitely like Lord Belial. And you know, they're quite well known anyway. So cool cover. It's a bit glossy though. So weird font, how it says Is the Oat, because it actually says Kiss the Goat. Cool logo and band members on the back here. And this one's a gatefold too, albeit a very glossy one. But yep. So all of the lyrics there, and members of the band. So they included, yes, Lilith is the flute player, yeah, on this album. And you may have seen this before anyway, but I'll just show it again. It comes on this interesting pink vinyl, which is consistent with the purple cover art, and these purple labels here, so with the band logo. Yeah, very nice. And yeah, some people might say, oh, why the hell is a black metal album pink? But at least it's consistent with the cover art. At least it's, you know how like with some albums, they just make the color of the vinyl completely irrelevant to the artwork. I hate that, but yeah, this is original. So yeah, fantastic Swedish black metal. If you like 90s second wave of black metal, definitely check this out. This is Lord Belial with Kiss the Goat. And the last one I'm going to talk about today is the other Lord Belial album, which was also in my recent collection update. This is Enter the Moonlight Gate, I think. And as I've mentioned before, this is one of my favorite black metal album covers, album artworks of all time. Just look at that. It's almost like you can tell the album's going to be good based on that artwork. Very Swedish as well. I like the use of the colors blue. And band members on the back here. And you may have heard me say, this one, you can still tell it's Lord Belial with the vocal style, which is like that standard Swedish raspy black metal style. But this album is a lot more aggressive than Kiss the Goat, like a lot faster, a lot more bombastic. So in many ways, it reminds me of like Vobiscum Satanas era Dark Funeral, in addition to Emperor in some moments, you know, like much faster tremolo riffing with that kind of wall of sound where it almost imitates a keyboard sound. And in fact, they do use keyboards as well, whereas Dark Funeral didn't, but they still produce that same kind of sound. But yeah, it's good. They just didn't do a Kiss the Goat part 2. This is interesting. Like maybe not quite as original as Kiss the Goat, but I still think even though they were playing more of a standard style on this album, they just did it so well, and there's some absolutely fantastic songs. Again, no bad songs on this particular album, but as I've mentioned, probably my favorites are Path with Endless Horizons. Like that's got a very, very Emperor and Dark Funeral-esque, like fast wall of sound riffing, which I really like, with atmosphere and that keyboard sound. I also really like track 4, Lamia. And probably my favorite track on the album is Black Winter Bloodbath, which starts side 2. Again, a very bombastic, atmospheric track in the vein of Emperor. And the other track that I really like is the last one, Realm of a Thousand Burning Souls, which is extremely epic as well. So yeah, like I said, my reviews of these 2 particular albums, Kiss the Goat and Into the Moonlight Gate by Lord Belial, they are very short today because I've already done a detailed review, but I'm sure you don't mind because I rambled on for a long time about the first 2 albums in today's video. Yeah, so yeah, you want to see more detailed reviews on these albums, you can. You know, you can check out my link, but maybe you've heard enough, or maybe you can just go and listen to the damn album. But yeah, like I said, one of my favorite black metal artworks of all time. Band members and titles on the back. Comes in another gatefold. Yep, showing the band members and lyrics again. Interestingly, they did include female vocals on this album and flutes as well, but Lilith is not shown in the band photo, which is interesting. Maybe she was just a session member. And the vinyl is pretty cool as well. It comes on this paint splattered vinyl. You know, I'm not really a huge fan of this style, but it is cool and original. So it's one, I think this is the only one in this style that I own actually. So that's cool. I like the kind of clear, translucent aspect as well. But yeah, Lord Belial, yep, you like second wave of black metal and Swedish black metal, I would definitely recommend checking them out. So that is Lord Belial with Into the Moonlight Gate. All right, and that's it for today, guys. So just 4 albums I'm talking about, and like I said, I'm going to alternate every video. So the next one I'm going to do, I've got another contest entry, and then the video after that I'm going to do a collection update, and the video after that I'm going to do a contest entry. So I've got it all mapped out. Yes, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and you can check out the links below to see more detailed reviews if you wish, and also just to listen to the albums, but I recommend all the ones I spoke about today. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Speaking of which, in my very previous video, my contest entry for Josh Keach, I got a trolling comment from someone, which is probably the harshest, most extreme comment I've got. Again, it wasn't too bad, but I don't know if that person was just making a joke, but I'll just reiterate this. Guys, if you don't like the videos, you don't have to watch, okay? It's simple as that. But anyway, I hope most of you did. I hope you all did, really. And I really appreciate your continued support and viewing of the channel. So I'll leave it there for today. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.